Let's talk about Talk to Me. I will start by saying that my analyses are not me trying to say what the directors were trying to say. I'm just telling you my interpretation of the film. Because at the end of the day, art is subjective. So you're never right or wrong as long as you have facts to back it up. So let's start by looking at the context of when and where Talk to Me was made. We have to look at where because every country has their own underlying fears that show up in their artwork, whether it be consciously or subconsciously. And then we have to look at when it was made because the social and political climate at the time the writers and directors are making things is so prevalent in their minds that it's almost impossible for it to not bleed into their content in one way or another. Talk to Me is an Australian film that was released in 2022. So, generally speaking, based on what I learned in my Australian cinema class, Australian films, specifically horror, tend to be rooted in their fear of nature and just the land surrounding them. Australia is a vast landscape with an array of different animals. Mankind is but a speck of dust on a continent that has 20 out of 25 of the world's most venomous snakes. 95% of the land is uninhabited by humans because the weather conditions are so severe, like 122-degree summers in the outback. So you can see how isolating that can feel to the people that live there and are surrounded by so much land and so many species of animals. Speaking of feeling isolated, that brings me to when Talk to Me was made. Since this film was released in 2022, that most likely means it was filmed in 2021, which was only a year after this thing that you may have heard of called a global pandemic. Everyone had to quarantine and isolate themselves in their homes to stop the spread of a potentially deadly virus. We could not go outside. We were constantly reminded of proper ways to wash our hands, and any cough or sneeze essentially sent people into a full blown panic attack. With all of that context laid out in front of us, let's talk about the movie itself. Mia is a teenager dealing with the grief of losing her mother. Grief itself can be a very isolating feeling. So Mia is trying to distract herself by going to parties with her friends. She really only has one friend, Jade, who if I can be honest, if this is a safe space, is not a good friend. So she follows Jade to this party. And we quickly get the vibe that Mia is not welcome here. They do not like her. They don't vibe with her. They think she's weird. So immediately isolating. And we can see that. Now, the main event of this party is holding a dead medium's embalmed hand and talking to the dead. Slay. The way they know about this fun, cool party game is because everyone is posting it on social media. I really truly love the way that this film uses social media to showcase how desensitized we've become and the way that that desensitization is affecting and molding the minds of minors, especially because during COVID, social media was the only connection that anyone had. Mia is looking for a connection, and like most teenagers, she just wants to fit in and be part of the group and feel like she belongs. And right now, the way to belong is to become possessed by a ghost. So fun. Everyone's doing it. Seems like a great time. I particularly love the use of the hand for this connection because not only is physical touch the most tangible form of connection that we have, but it is also what was forbidden during the pandemic. There are like a billion times that hands are brought up or pulled focus on throughout the film. Even when Mia and Jade's boyfriend are talking about when they dated back when they were kids, she specifically is like, "Oh, do you remember when we held hands?" Because holding hands was like a connection. Like she felt loved and she felt like she wasn't alone. Conversely, when Jade and her mother are in the car after Jade's little brother is in the hospital, Jade goes to hold her mom's hand and her mom jerks away, which leaves Jade feeling isolated and disconnected from her own family. In the end, Mia becomes one of the dead souls that is summoned by the medium's hand during party games. Unless someone is calling out to her from another world, she is lost in this vast void of never ending nothingness, much like Australians are lost in this vast landscape of nothingness, much like the feeling of isolation from not being able to leave your house and not being able to touch another person without washing your hands for 20 to 40 seconds, palms, backs, in between your fingers, and under your fingernails, which is where Mia's mom had her splinters from clawing at the door to try to reach someone else and have a connection for someone to help her.